Hey everyone. It's been about 2 weeks since we did a video of our greenhouse tour, and I've received quite a bit of messages and feedback and emails from lots of different people. Lots of people thinking of building their own. So that's really exciting for me to see. But a whole bunch of questions and long emails and messages, and frankly, been quite busy. Well, my life is just hectic all the time. So instead of replying to everyone, I just messaged back that we'll try to answer your questions with a quick follow-up video. So this is that. So thanks for all the great feedback, and I'm really happy that our video was helpful for everyone. So construction of the main building, and did we use concrete footings? So the construction of the main building, it's called a post and beam or a pole building. So this is 6x6 outdoor wood treated posts that are put every 8 feet on center. They go 7 feet in the ground. So what I did is I drilled about a 8 or 9 foot deep hole and then poured some concrete, maybe 2-3 feet of concrete. The post sits on top of the concrete after it's set, and the post is tamped with pea rock. This is how I built my entire big shop, which is an agriculture building as well as the greenhouse. And I love this construction. So it's extremely strong from the wind. Those posts go in the ground. Very strong support this way. In my shop, I actually have a 3-sided mezzanine that actually helps hold everything together really well. But it's very minimal. It's a very inexpensive way to build. There's no concrete. So what I did initially is measured out my footprint, squared it up, the perimeter of it, and I dug with a skid steer attachment backhoe and dug 4 feet deep with a 16-inch wide bucket just on the inside of my footprint of the perimeter. And then I jammed that full of 16 inches of vertical insulation under the ground, so it stuck up a little bit. And then my posts were drilled just outside that insulation, 7 feet down, 8 feet on center. So the posts are 8 feet on center. These front posts are 16 foot on center to hold these massive beams along the top up, but the walls are 8 foot on center. And then purlins are a 2x4 or a 2x6 on the flat, 2 foot on center going up the wall on the outside, on the walls and the roof, and that's to put the agriculture tin or the metal cladding to it. The best way would be to just look up post beam construction or pole building construction. So a lot of farm buildings and agriculture buildings are built this way. It's inexpensive, quick. Actually, there's not a lot of thermal breaks in the wall because every 8 feet is the post, whereas a stud frame, 16-inch or 24 on center, there's a lot more wood and less insulation, so there's more thermal breaks. So this is it's efficient, super strong, inexpensive, a lot less concrete, and yeah. Plans and permits. I just have brief sketches, but everything was in my head. I didn't, just my obsession about it for years, planning it in my sleep, kind of thing. But no, it all came in my head. Building it, so no plans to go off of. For permits, so I know the rules where I'm at. We have agriculture land, agriculture zoning. We are a farm. So when you build a barn, a lean-to, a hay shed, a greenhouse, shops, there is no permitting on agriculture buildings. So that's one stitch of freedom that I really appreciate and I know about. If you have 1 acre, so where I'm at, if you have a 1 acre, 10 acre farm, or I guess not a farm, acreage, and don't have farm zoning or agriculture zoning, you can't just build whatever you want for farm buildings. So if you're going to build a barn, a hoop house, a greenhouse, you probably even need permission to put a shipping container for storage. You will need to permit it and have it inspected and probably pay tax on it as well. I'm not sure. You just have to look in to your area where you're from. Okay, wood versus steel construction. So mine is built out of wood, so the posts are pressure treated. The rest, like purlins, is just spruce. The truss system is just spruce. And then this entire front wall is spruce painted white. Now, if I was to do steel, steel's cold, so steel will be let a lot more thermal transfer. So I do like wood, but so somebody was asking, what about longevity with wood structure? So I spoke a lot about my silage tarp vapor barrier, sealing up every single staple hole in it. So I made sure it's very well sealed up. So this will last as long as a house or any other building. And then I was asked how to, geez, it's bright in here. How did I secure this inside row of UV resistant poly? So along the top, I stapled it. That's where I started to get it perfectly straight. And then it is stapled and taped to the silage tarp. So there's nowhere for moisture to sneak out here. And then from there, it's just a few staples all the way down, and I cut strips of a puck board and just with screws, maybe every 16 inches to hold the poly up. Down at where's my finger here? The base of the building, that poly just hangs down kind of in the dirt, and I have a couple magnets to kind of hold the poly, but any moisture that goes in between, I wanted to not be able to trap to have any rotting. So if there's any condensation, there is no place for water to sit and to rot out my structure. So the longevity over steel, like it's great. I have zero concerns about that. So planting on the north side of the building. I'm going to switch the camera around here. It won't let me. Okay, on the north side of the building, so I mentioned where the summer solstice is. So if you haven't watched that first video, go watch that first. But the summer solstice is half of my in-ground bed. The winter solstice hammers the entire greenhouse except the top 3 feet of the back wall. So kind of where my concrete form is, just over my shoulder, that is about, middle of September, the sun's starting to get there, and then in the wintertime creep up. So no, we can't plant full sun year round, but things like the banana don't want full sun. So we permanently planted the banana here. So in the heat of the summer with the long days, the banana is going to get plenty of sunlight. And the nice thing, polycarbonate diffuses the light, so the light will drive in, hit the polycarbonate, and disperse. So you'll have less burning of your plants. But lots of things you plant would be, they don't want full sun. So I just have to plant it out in the heat of the summertime. What's going to be full sun and what's going to be not want the full sun. So certain plants thrive in different conditions. The banana tree, when I was building it, was in a little pot, and we had it in the summertime up front. That thing was suffering looked like it was burning. It wasn't happy. It didn't want full sun. But in the winter, it seems to be extremely happy, like new growth. That's a new leaf up top. It's getting full sun, but the days are very short in the winter time, and it's super, super happy. So it's already 30 degrees Celsius in here today. So I have this door, screen part of the door open behind me, and then this other door opened up as well, just to the outside, because it's toasty in here. I'm sweating. There's our new plant tray starter. I might do a video how I did that, but that little door is open. Not the full overhead door, but okay, yeah, another thing. So that Chinese style greenhouse, you can plant, it'll get full sun year round, so even in the summertime. But for efficiency in the dead of winter, those greenhouses won't be used here. It gets too cold, even with their insulated blanket that they roll out and everything. So for a greenhouse business, now if you want to do any sort of farm and any sort of business today's day and age, it is massive monoculture. So you would do a greenhouse, the lowest possible cost, bigger furnaces, because the heating bill, you factor that into what you can produce, as a business. And maybe you pack a greenhouse 4 times the size of this with solid one variety of tomatoes or solid strawberries, and then get distributors and grocery stores and all that. My business concept for our on-farm stuff is I have, a half of a quarter section of land, agriculture zoning, but we have outside, we're going to dig a pond that's going to have trout. We have it divided into multiple pastures. We have goats in one, going to have cattle, other animals in the other. We have lots of cross fencing. I'm going to be doing pigs again. We have chickens. I want to do a bigger barn. We are literally having a diverse, making 100% use of our land in a diverse way, permaculture-ish, but not your traditional farm and business. So if you want to get into Saskatchewan type farming, it's go rent 2,000 to 3,000 acres, get some massive machinery, and you just plant canola, and that's your life. Ours is different. So we have a 2-acre orchard outside. Some of our hay land, I've been taking to hay that used to be cultivated. I'm going to be doing apple row orchards with large spacing, so I can still get animal feed hay in between, but also still have fruit production. And it's the same concept with the greenhouse. We're going to have bananas and citrus, Chinese medicine, fruit, vegetables, flowers, flower starting some things that we're going to plant outside, both flowers and food. But our customer base we're not having a distributor, we're not going to the grocery store, we're not having a middleman whatsoever. We are having this teeny tiny but loyal customer base in my immediate local community, and I am going to provide them a lot of value, but a small customer base. So if we do food boxes weekly or bi-weekly, my plan is, and we'll see how long it takes me to get there, but in every box, maybe you'll have a protein, so whole chicken, ground beef, pork, or even fish, because we're going to be doing fish both outside and inside here, as well as microgreens, some herbs, some spices, maybe some value-added products without government licensing that we can sell just in person, fruits, vegetables, and a variety of different things. We have 32 apple trees that are going to be producing here, so that's going to be a lot of apples in the fall. When those are ripe, our customers are going to get a whole bunch of apples for next to nothing, right, in their weekly subscription. But it's a totally different business concept from our freeze-dried stuff. But it's like an extension of what we want on a homestead for our own self-reliance, but everything's just bigger. So we produce more than we consume and can pass that along to a tiny group of customers. Vermicomposting and worm bin. So we have one tiny little worm bin with some red wigglers. It's too hot in the greenhouse. Like for worms, you want cool and dark. So I didn't mention before, but on the north side of our greenhouse is just a super insulated wall. And then this goes into a small portion of my shop that's going to be insulated. But my plan is to put a root cellar or a couple root cellars, like buried insulated sea cans, behind and connected to the greenhouse. So that's for our own food storage and kind of an old school root cellar. The reason why I don't go underground is our water table's so high where we're at, so I just have to do a large footprint and then super insulated. Now I'm not going to have any problems with flooding in the future or any problems from going underground. And then if we do that behind on the north end as I keep building, because I never stop, that would be a good place to do, say, a little bit of mushroom production and vermicomposting. But it's too hot in the greenhouse for worm bins. On the cloudy days, how does it work? So, yeah, if it's minus 50 at night and heavy overcast the next day, this furnace behind me is going to run a fair bit. So we have our wood stove going, of course, on those cold days and nights. If it's partial overcast, we are going to get some solar gain. So during the day, there's not much heating requirements to keep it our 10 degrees Celsius. But at night and the heavy overcast days, oh yes, that's why I have that furnace, because the amount of vegetation and growing things and plants we're going to have in here, I want to make sure I have that backup. So far, this is so new, we're can't even tell you what our natural gas bill would be. It depends on how much I use the wood stove, and then again so this greenhouse I'm still working on the envelope. I'm cladding the inside with metal, and the first thing in the spring is I do the concrete where we're standing. Then I can put my literally 6,000 to 10,000 gallons of thermal mass storage, which is like a battery. So it's kind of like if this was a solar photovoltaic system, it's like I got the solar panels, but I don't have my battery yet. So until the whole project everything works together, it's going to require a little bit more heating. So next winter we can do an update to show how much better that is for that. So our only thermal mass is like 2 little test water tanks, 1 little fish tank, and then the ground is the thermal mass. But the main is all of that water. So this water today with the sun, it's getting hot in there. I bet you it'll get to 80 degrees Fahrenheit today, and that little bit will radiate back at night. But until I have a full wall that can radiate back at night, it's not going to work to its full potential. Temperature and humidity data recording. So I just have a few, just a humidistat or whatever you call that, thermometer and water temperature little probes. Nothing's recorded on a spreadsheet or nothing. It's just all in my brain at this point. So I'd like to get that set up and really have some fixed data type of thing. Geothermal for cooling, like run pipes underground to cool it in the summer. So I'm hoping that because all my thermal mass will be shaded, that it is going to have a cooling effect or equalize the greenhouse temperature. But like I was building this in the heat of summer, and it wasn't much hotter as I was building it inside as outside, because I'd have it opened up and there'd be enough breeze, and where I live the wind's always blowing. I'm not worried about cooling for those couple weeks that are scorching hot. That's all we get here, and it's not going to be a problem. Easier to just move somewhere to a better climate. And yeah, that's true. We should have just moved to Belize, but I like where I live. I like the harsh conditions. It's almost like you have to. You live very close to nature, and nature is, unforgiving, and I don't know. There's lots of space where we live. Like it's people don't like the winter, so our population never grows. Whereas you go to nice coastal lands like California, the coast of BC, along the equator, they have overpopulation. There's not a lot of space, and I like fighting Mother Nature. I find it quite fun, actually. But hot tub and sauna. Everybody, or a few people have said, yeah, you need a hot tub in here for pleasure. Well, the half-ass plan is kind of, I have a wood stove there, and I put it there for a reason anyways. If I build with fireproof material around that and build a sauna with fireproof material where the wood stove is, that means literally all winter, whenever I'm having the wood stove going anyways, I can have a sauna going anyways. And maybe just the sauna, you have a window or door to open up. So instead of, I actually like saunas, like parts of the world, Sweden, on a new homestead, they build the sauna first before everything else. We don't do that here, but it's so good for you. It opens your pores. It's very, very healthy, lots of health benefits. But instead of doing a shed outside when it's minus 30 or worse, nobody's going to want to try to sneak out there to go in the sauna and light a separate stove for that. But if I have it going anyways, and at night in here it's 10 degrees, so it's nice and cool, but around that stove with a sauna, you just have your sauna going all the time. And then I do have electrical. We could put a hot tub. I'd have to look. Don't want the chemicals to hurt anything or anything, but that would be really nice. So actual dimensions, I don't know if I mentioned in the video, but it's 64 feet by 32 feet to the main structure, and then 11 feet at the south portion. So, and then it hooks in the front of my shop 8 feet. I kind of hooked it around that corner for a little extra. And then at the peak, after my concrete, will be about 14 and a half feet after my concrete's poured. And then at the back wall, it's about 11 feet, give or take a little bit. But it's just a lower slope than the winter solstice, so the sun at the lowest point doesn't hit my poly to degrade anything, and it shades my water tanks for my rainwater. I don't want algae growth. So where in Saskatchewan are we from? We are strategically close to and just far enough outside Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. So nothing would please me more for most of my life to live out in the middle of nowhere, 4 hours away from the nearest city. But with a family, our kids are going to be able to whip into town to go see a movie if those are still available, or play on a sports team if somebody in my family has health problems. And then for me, a business person, I need to be close to post offices, distribution networks, and the economy. So we paid a little bit more for land closer to the city. to be close to the economy, but I have enough land that it feels like we're in the middle of nowhere. So bananas are not trees, they're just big plants. Yeah, I've heard that a few times. I call them banana trees because that thing's going to get as high as the roof, but technically I guess it's just a plant, not a tree. So, and then the last thing is costs to build this sucker. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what it cost me to build it, but I'll give you some pointers and advice and kind of some ballpark stuff. So I'm frugal, and I'm not made of money. So over the course of a few years, I took mental notes and notes on paper, kind of things that I need. So into the what was that? That was early summer 2020. Things started coming together. All of a sudden, I found brand new tin that was a misorder off another project, and 10 cents on the dollar. My roof trusses, my roof structure was a misorder off of a hotel, and unless you're somebody like me that can, use material specific to other projects to make it work and work properly, that stuff is useless. So I got that for very inexpensive. A few things I have to buy new. 60 by 100 silage tarp was $550. All the tape for the silage tarp. Some new straight lumber for this, the polycarbonate obviously, the greenhouse poly obviously new, the 6x6 posts are new, but all the other lumber was actually called cull lumber. So at a few of my lumber yards, they'll have put bundles aside and say cull, so they'll have large crowns in, some like boomerangs, but 50 cents on the dollar for that stuff, and lumber's getting ridiculous. So for the purlins that are on the flat, just attached to 8-foot on center posts, and just to hold the tin on, it doesn't matter about the boomerang, so I save half the money there. My biggest savings was the insulation. So off of 2 projects, it was a government elementary school and another large kind of warehouse flat roof deal. And when the government or a big company does a re-roof, they won't reuse that insulation, they'll just use new stuff with the roofing contractor. So this insulation was literally mint condition, nothing wrong with it, a little bit of dust on it, but I had to go stack it up and haul it. The amount of insulation I got off of those 2 buildings was the equivalent of a retail price of $65,000 for that insulation, and we got that for under 10 cents on the dollar for that. The tin is used. This door you see, that's a $900 door for new, I got for $100. This overhead door was free. This was $100. This commercial door into my shop, I don't even know what this would cost, but double door without the pillar in between, $250. That's a used ladder. This soil, I don't know how many hundreds of yards are in that soil, but if you just bought topsoil, which isn't very good for growing, you want compost and stuff, I think $25 to $30 a yard delivered, so that's thousands of dollars, and that was, free for my foresight to make things. And I guess what I'm trying to get at is, and then 1,000 man hours or more for me to do it, not included. So if you're going to do it yourself, use salvaged material, not have to hire anyone, be frugal, but spend the money where necessary. Insulation, I have more time doing insulation and vapor barrier than I do the entire construction of the building, because that's my most important part, the most important for me. So I have this, theory that I go by. It's everything's in the upfront infrastructure. Once you have proper infrastructure in place, that is yours to have. So insulation is my favorite. Insulation is no moving parts. Once it's in the building, protected with, you know, siding or the metal roof or whatever, that's there forever and ever, and you get the benefit of not having to heat your building at all or as much for the rest of your days or however long the building stands. So I will spend the time and money on certain things, and it's not like I have any corners cut. Like this is super heavy gauge tin I got for next to nothing with this other tin deal. Puck board that I used to line my beds was somebody got it off an auction, and that was maybe 40 cents on the dollar. All these bus windows, if you wanted to go like order new windows all the same size, you're looking at multi-thousands of dollars. I think all these bus windows were 350 bucks. So I'm not going to give you a price exactly what I have into it with or without my labor included, but you know, I could give you a range anywhere from 50,000 bucks. You go around, scrounge for materials, get all the deals, no labor costs, all the way up to a few $100,000. That's you hiring a construction contractor, all the labor, where they purchase all the material new, because nobody's going to give you that time to go salvage material and find you deals. There's just not enough time to do that. So for feasibility as a business, because I took the time and I wanted this for us anyways, and my views on inflation and how expensive things are going to get, I want all this infrastructure in place up front with the avoidance of ongoing costs to run it. So it's worth it for me because I'm young and I'm thinking literally decades into the future. So with a building like this, once your infrastructure's in place, it's going to last a long time, not cost an arm and a leg to heat like most greenhouses, and it's going to produce significant value for years to come with minimal costs compared to other food production. Even getting to the point for shipping costs for like all of Canada's fruits and vegetables essentially are imported for most of the year, with the exception of a little bit in the summertime. But shipping costs and fuel costs and the, 25 different taxes they have, and double taxation on fuel, and like GST on the carbon tax on the GST. And literally I'm working really fast to get stuff done as fast as I can ahead of time, because it's costing a significant amount more every year you wait to do something. So if you're thinking about doing something like this, unless you're invested somewhere else or in some kind of industry that's you're going to keep up with or beat inflation, I like accumulating materials as they come available. Like, think about what I need. If there's a deal, I'll go take advantage of it, take the time, go pick it up, store it properly. And once I had all the pieces of the puzzle, it was like, wow, I did it. I accumulated everything. Now let's start putting this sucker together. So that was the majority of the questions. If you got any more, I'll try to get to them, or just a quick one in the comments I can respond to quickly. But again, this is the second video of after our tour. Go check out that first one for the main info. And again, I hope this info helps. There should be it might be released today or tomorrow actually, but on a huge YouTube channel called Canadian Prepper. So he's actually a local guy to me, but he came out with his amazing equipment and entire camera crew. They did a high quality video, fully edited, professional production, and that should be released shortly. And that's about our greenhouse, and tried to switch it to more emergency preparedness and self-sufficiency type of thing for his channel, but that should be good as well. So thanks again for watching. I hope this helped. Have a nice day.